Thank you, IPCO Foundation. Thank you, DOKU.TECH. It's really good to be here. And some of you might know, Prizren is my home country. Today we are going to talk about the application of virtual reality in a robot built from scrap. So what we are doing in our mechatronics lab in Pristina, we are building lots of robots. Usually, we are doing the robots from scrap materials. We are reusing the scrap material. So, in this case, we have, before we jump into our robots, I want to just shortly talk about some statistics about the number of e-waste that we produce and we use per capita. Let's say we can see that Germany, it has 22.8 kilograms per capita. So can you imagine everyone in Germany is using almost 23 kilograms of e-waste. So they are producing this e-waste. How does this e-waste come? Well, we change phones every year or every 2 years. So every product has a lifetime, has a end of life. So how do we manage this end of life and where the world is going? If we see the figures, we are going to have a very, very big pile of trash, of electronic waste, etc. So the idea is to use this electronic trash and reuse them and put some use out of them. So the idea of building robots from scrap materials came from a visit of a artist from Slovenia. His name is Saša Sedlacek. He came for a organization here in Prizren. It was Autostrada Biennale, and I met him. And he had this idea, or he was building actually these robots, which do beg for money. So he had some beggar robots built in different countries, and he contacted us, and we built a robot for him during the Autostrada Biennale. And this is our robot that we built during the Biennale. So this is a robot. It stood in front of a bus station in Prizren for almost a month. And what he actually was doing, he was begging for money. You know, people going by, and he has 4 different scenarios. The first scenario is when nobody is around, he would call them and say, please, can you gather around me? I've got something to say. It's a bait. And when somebody goes around or comes closer, it would say, you know, it has these ultrasonic sensors that detect the objects. And when somebody comes close, it would put out his hands. It has 2 hands here, who uses as to put the money on it. So once you put the money, comes in the third scenario. The second was the scenario when he says, can you give some contribution? And the third one, if you put the money, he would thank you. If you don't put the money, he would say, maybe next time. So it leaves open door for you to, you know, think again and use. So the idea behind all this is, beside being a artistic work, it's also designed to use materials and to learn in the process. So once we finished this, we were hooked. We were liking the idea of building robots from scrap, from something that's unusable, and using also the cheap electronics and open source softwares and electronics. We were able to build not only this robot, but also our second robot, which is a virtual reality robot built from scrap. So we built the robot. Now we are going to test the robot. I hope everything goes okay. so we can see the robot. So what you are going to expect is a robot which has a camera in front of it, and it would send the information, the feedback from the camera, the video from the camera, so it's first-person video that comes in our goggles. We are using wireless network, not just so they are connected with different interfaces, which we are going to talk about that. And also the camera changes. The view of the camera changes accordingly with our head. So if we turn right, the camera will turn right and left, etc., up and down and all that. Also, it has mobility, it has wheels, and with the virtual reality, we are using Oculus Rift joysticks, we can put it in movements. Okay, so I'm going to try and try it out. So, okay, as you can see, it's just it started to move the camera. As you might see, it's moving with my movements. So if I put like this direction or that direction, it will change. And also with our, you can see the video that is that comes from the robot. So let me try. Okay. Let me try this way. Now we lost the visuals. Okay, so this is our robot. The robot will be commanded from the yeah, it can look up and down and move, so we can like move around. Change the view. I think we are having some difficulties with the internet. Can you check the view? Okay, so yeah, here's the view. Okay. Okay, so this is the robot, and let's talk just shortly about the some technical aspects of the robot, so how the robot was built. As I told earlier, it has a wireless communication. The router is inside the robot, and it sends a signal to our main computer, which commands or which is connected with the VR. And also, we use different interfaces and different softwares in order to be able to have these results. Let's say in the user side, we are using or we programmed with Unity. As you might know, Unity is a game development software or engine. And we connected with the wireless connection with an IP camera, which is then the information that comes from IP camera goes to XAMPP. And then we used C# in order to be able to give the information to our Arduino board. As you might know, Arduino board is a programming board, is a microcontroller which controls motors and different, let's say in our robot we have 2 DC motors that control the wheels, and also we have 2 servo motors which control the movement of the camera. So the basic idea behind all this project is besides using old materials or scrap or reusing these materials. We also learn in the process. So in order to build this robot, you have to know you have to have certain skills, like you have to know how to build an electronics. So you have to know how to do the mechanical part. You know, you have these wheels and all that, the body, etc. And you have to know how to program with different platforms. Let's say in this case we had Arduino IDE, we had Unity, we had C#, etc. So it's a set of softwares that you have to know. And at the end, it's the accomplishment that's worth. If you say to someone, you have to learn programming, okay? And you say, okay, I'll try it. And after a week or 2 weeks or something, he gets bored. Because the learning process at the beginning is very hard. So the idea behind this is, let's do that process and gain something from it. When you have a purpose building a robot. So in order to build a robot, you have a certain thing to do. Step by step, you are building it. So, and also you are doing, you know, making all the electronics, you are doing the programming, etc. So when you have a purpose, it's easy to learn or easier to learn. And once you have the product, that's the payoff. And for the end, I'm going to have a message: reduce, reuse, recycle. Thank you. I want to also thank the team that built the robot, Nardgashi and Eryan Ahmeti. They really, they did all the job. I'm just talking. Thank you.